Yeah, so in this section, as I said, we'll be using the compiler whereby we have more than one line of code. What do we do? So we need to save it and run it, as I said earlier. So firstly, let's open our Python inbuilt code editor. So here, so we are not going to use the shell. So as I said, we are going to use we are going to save it as file whereby we can compile more than one line of code and run it to get results. So how do we go about that? Remember, this is just the open shell we have been using. A is equals to 5, b is equals to 4, um, a plus b. Yeah, that's what we have been using. But now we are going to progress to next stage whereby we can compile. For example, if it's more than one line of code, what do? We need to run a program and execute our result. So what do? We have to click on File, then we open here. So open a file. So here you can decide to save your file anywhere. So for me, I'm going to save this file on my desktop. I will save this file on my desktop. I will call this file test1. I'll call it test1. So I'll save it on my desktop. So remember the command will as I said, this section we are going to go in details using the the conditional statement, using the we use the here we're going to use the elif if and else statement. So let's proceed. If 5 is greater than 3, print it works. So let's run it and see. Here we can see it works. So instead of telling us true, so we replace it with it works. So I'm just trying to let you know how we can use Python to present our result instead of using the true and false statement. So let's write something else. So I'll open another file. So here I will write if 5 is greater than 2, print 5 is greater than 2. Else print 5 print 5 is not greater than 2. So let's save this and run it. I'll save this and as remember I usually save it on my desktop. I'll save that test2. Yeah, 5 is greater than 2. Yeah, so let's do something different. So I'm going to open a new file. I'll save this with remember I used to save it on my desktop. So I will call this test2. So here I'm going to let's work with string. Let's use the conditional statement for string. For example, let me assign a variable name equals to John. I'm going to use a lowercase. I'm going to use small letter all through. So for example, name is equals to John. If name is equals to Paul, print hi Paul. Print hi. Print hi Paul. Print hi Paul. Elif name is equals to Sonia. Print hi. Hi Sonia. Elif name is equals to John. Print hi John. S print hi dear. So currently you can see the name is John. So let's run this and see how it works. Sorry, there is a oh, I didn't close it here. Yeah, there was some error. Let's run it again. What was that? Oh, supposed to close this here as well. There's an error here. Elif name is Sonia. Elif John. Okay, let's run it and see. Yeah, hi John. So let's change this name to Sonia. Let's enter Sonia. Yeah, change to hi Sonia. Replace it with hi Sonia. So let's change it to let's change the name to the input name to Paul. Yeah, it changed to hi Paul. Now let's change it to a name that is not assigned. For example, let me change it to Juliet. Let me change it to Juliet. Let's see. You say hi there because Juliet is not it does not stop as a variable. Yeah. So these are some of the way you can use a Python to produce a result for you. So next, let's look at function. So yeah, I'll open a new file. Just write function. So function is a sequence of instruction given to Python to execute. So function usually start with def, we mean definition. So for instance, it can use it to define your own function, to create your own function. So it starts with the def if you want to create a function. So for instance, let me define a function. I just call this function hi. Let me call it hi. Function is to have it has a parameter. It can be empty parameter. There can be something in the parameter. What do I mean by parameter? This empty bracket is known as parameter. So I'm going to this function is this one. I'm going to use hi. I'm going to use hi as a function, and it's an empty parameter. So in this parameter, I'm going to write something inside this parameter. So I'm going to write like I'm going to print like hello, hello dear, hello dear, hello dear. I'll print how are you doing? Yeah, so that is the content of our function. So to call the function, you will have to call the function. This is how you can call the function. That is to retrieve the information. So what I've done now, like I've defined a function and I wrote hello there, how are you? So that is the content of our function. So how do you call it? How do you call, like, check the content of your content? You call it by using the same name of your function that you've defined to call it. So let's run it now. So sorry, I have to save it first. So I'll save it with let me save it tests. I can save test for these functions. Yeah. So this is detection. Oh, sorry, I didn't cover the code here. So I'll run it again. Yeah, you can see this is the content of our function. Hello dear, how are you? So this is how we can use our function. Whatever that is in the whatever that is saved with the function, you can save your own function. Then you call the function, then to execute it, to use the content. So secondly, I'm going to use another function which probably might be in now I'm going to use something in the parameter. Let me use, for example, let me create a function called let, let me use a name as the parameter this time. So it's not going to be empty. So create a function called a name. So I was like, if name is equals to if name is equals to if name is equals to John, print hello John, hello John, elif name is equals to Paul, print hello Paul. elif elif name is equals to Juliet, print Juliet, else print hi there. So let's try something. So let's call it without let's call this function using the previous way without using an empty parameter. Notice it's going to trigger error. Let's try it. Let's call the function. The function is high, name is high. So I'm going to call it without using the parameter. Let's see what will happen. Yes, it's trigger error. So look, what let's check the error. Say type error, missing one required position argument name. That means I did not include name because this is not an empty parameter. The parameter is the name of the is high, but it's a name. The function is named. The parameter is named, so it's a function that contains names. So calling empty parameter is trigger error requesting for names. So we have different names our variable. Let's try John. Let's try John. So yeah, let's try John. Let's impute John in our parameter. Let's see. Yeah, we can see hello John. So let's change this to Paul. Yeah, hello Paul. So let's impute a name that is not in our variables. Let me say Tom. Hi there. Yeah, so that is how we can use a function. This is how I can use function to this is how we can create our own function to this is how we can create our own function to and execute it by display what we want it to display. So let's continue. And lastly, we are going to look at a loop. So I'll close this. Let me open another file. I'll just call this loop. Yeah, in some cases where we're writing like program, maybe or we're calling we're running some program, we don't want to keep repeating ourselves. Like you want to call out the names of students in the class, you don't want to be calling each of them manually. So there's a way we can automate this systematically using a programming language. So that's where loops comes in, whereby we don't want to repeat ourselves. We can write a command, then this we automatically generate a solution, a command for the rest of for the we automatically generate fix the problem for us by giving us by completing the statements for us, complete the commands for us. So for example, I'm going to create a list I'm going to create a list of students. So let me create a list of students equals to, I'll call it John. Let me create a list of students. James, Paul, Tim, yeah, Tom. Yeah, so this is a list of students. It can be more than this. So for example, this is a list of students. You want to greet each student. So we can make a Python to, like, write a statement to automatically greet all the students rather than writing it manually by greeting each of the students. So let's write let's write a program for that. So we're going to write a program for that. So we're going to use, we have the while, we have the for, but in this case we are going to, in this tutorial, I'll be using the for loop. We have the for loop, we have the while loop. So in this tutorial I'll be using the for loop. It's similar to using the if statement. So firstly, let's define our own function. So we're going to use, I'm going to write a program that we use to greet all these this list of students. So firstly, we are going to write our, define our own function. I'm just going to say hi, then name. So I'll like print hi, print hi plus name. Student, I'll call it students. Yeah. So pardon me, let me copy this. I'll just paste it here. So we now create a command to loop through this name. So that is where we use the for loop. So I'll say for name in student. For name is student. Let's bring in our function here. Name. Print next. Print next student. So let's save this. Save as. Desktop. I'll save this as test 5. Yeah, so let's ensure we check indentation, which is very important. So we check indentation. Yeah, so let's run it. Look okay. Now let's run it. Yeah, we can see hi John. Next student, hi James. Next student, hi Paul. Next student, hi Tim. Next student, hi Tom. Yeah, you can see Python have automatically automated the greeting for us instead of greeting each student manually. So this the loop statement have helped us to like automate the greeting by automatically generate the greeting for all the students. So these are the these are the powerful effect of using a loop. These are the effect of using a loop. So yeah, before we round up, I will take one more. Let's look at one more. Let's try one more example of using a loop. Yeah, so I'm going to call it yes, same loop. Let's try loop. Let's try it on integer. Let's see how we can use loop for integer. So I'll say this. I'll call this test 6. Yeah. So I'll call this test 6. So yeah, let me say we have certain numbers like maybe 1 to 9 or thereabout, and we want to automatically loop through this number to call this number maybe from the range of 1 to 8 or 1 to 9. So how do we do that? We can also use the loop to like call this function, then automatically generate the numbers. So how do we do that? We can also use the for loop. So for example, want to get a number between 1 and 8. For example, we can also use loop with we can also use loop for integer. For example, want to loop through a range of numbers. Yeah, we can use the for loop to do that as well. For example, we are going to loop through like 1 to 100. How do we do that? We can use the for loop. Let's see. I'll say for x. Let's say I'll say for x in range of 1 and 100, print x. So let's run this. So we're going to loop through the number between 1 and 100. So let's see. Excuse me. Yeah, we see these are the number between 1 and 100. We will not show 1 to 99. These are the number between 1 and 100. Yeah, so that this is how we can also use loop to to check range between integers. Yeah. So if you complete this tutorial, congratulations. At least you can call yourself a Python developer, because these are the basic syntax you need to know before you can develop an app. You can progress to using Python to develop any form of app, any form of system. So thank you so much for watching the tutorial. And if you enjoyed the tutorial, you can as well as like, share, and as well as subscribe, so that others YouTube can recommend it to others, and so others can also award the tutorials as well. Thank you so much for viewing. Thank you. Bye for now.